Here we are on the set of opening night. This is the VIP lounge on the opening night of this new play. This is what you might call a backstage play. You know, it's kind of a subgenre, just like a backstage musical, backstage play, where there's a play within a play, or a musical within a musical. So the surprise here is that it's the opening night of this play that is happening, and what the opening night, which is the title of our play, is about, is what's happening behind the scenes.
Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on in the play?
Well, it's it takes place in, let's say, late 80s, early 90s, I should say. I don't want to be too specific. You have to come and see the play. It's a typical opening night in a smaller city, I would say, maybe regional theater in a smaller city. And it's a typical opening night in those days because it used to be kind of a big deal. It's kind of a crossroads for Canada culturally, you know, trying to find its cultural identity, and then people were still trying many things. And you'll see in this play, and you'll hear it, you know, how the actors in the play, you know, who are acting in the play, within the play, and the other characters who are not in show business, they're grappling with that. You know, they're questions about Canadian identity and arts in Canada at that time. And of course, you know, Norm is a master at comedy, and he tells things, and he kind of lets you understand things in a roundabout way. He's very crafty that way. I remember many years ago, I played a part in the musical Applause, which is from the movie All About Eve. But anyway, I played the part of Bert, the stage manager. And there was one point where he had a line that went, "We should charge admission to what goes on behind the scenes," which is an interesting thing, because what it means is that sometimes what happens behind the scenes is a lot more, probably more exciting or funnier than what really happens on the stage. So opening night is one of those plays, but what's interesting about it is that it incorporates real people, as people like to ask actors, what do you do in real life? Well, as if it's not a real life. Who kind of begin to intermingle on this night, this opening night, with the actors in this VIP lounge. The actor types, directors, actors, and you find the juxtaposition of the quote-unquote regular people, you know, having interactions with the artsy types, with the artists.
You have been quoted as saying, "Norm Foster's comedies offer us glimmers of hope and laughter in an otherwise cynical and increasingly unfeeling world." What is your concept for this production? What message are you and Norm Foster trying to provide?
Well, it's interesting because no matter what happens in this world, and like you quoted me as saying, unfeeling and cynical, you know, we hear it and see it in the news every day. But when it comes down to it, it's the actual people's relationships, you know, family and friends and lovers and partners and husbands and wives. And that's what counts when you do away with all those layers, you know, of struggle and being a tough slog, especially nowadays. And you look at these relationships, somehow it allows you to reset your priorities. And that's what he has a talent for. And he does it with laughter, which relaxes you and lets you think about what you've just seen and what you've just heard, and reassess, you know, your own life, and kind of let go of the stress and begin to relax. And it helps you approach everyday life with a different perspective. Now, the backstage play is very, very popular with audiences because audiences are always fascinated by what happens behind the scenes. There's always a fascination with entertainment, if you all know about all these TV shows about entertainment and entertainment news. So everybody's fascinated with that. There are many, many other backstage plays, if you'd like to call them, that came before. And Opening Night by Norm Foster is right up there with them. Some hit plays, comedies that are called backstage plays come to mind. Noises Off by Michael Frayn, Jitters by David French, and of course Present Laughter by Noel Coward. What do we have? The Royal Family, Philip S. Kaufman, and Moon Over Buffalo by Ken Ludwig. And I think there's a newer one called The Play That Goes Wrong. That's a totally different genre. Yeah, I've known Norm for I think over 30 years now, I guess, and directed quite a few of his plays, produced a lot more, and I've attended a lot of the plays that I was involved with. And we developed kind of a collegial relationship and then a friendship, and I got to know him a lot better when I translated a volume of, we put in a volume of 5 plays that I translated into Romanian and got published in Romanian. So I got to consult with him a lot, and somehow I've read all of his plays, so somehow I have an affinity for Norm's work, and I understand how he writes, so that kind of helps. What happens with backstage plays and backstage musicals, they all have the same kind of a dramatic device of the play within the play, or a musical within the musical. But there are some differences. Well, a backstage play emphasizes dialogue, witty dialogue, some funny lines, and some situational comedy, even slapstick. And you'll see, if you have to come and see the show, you'll see all of that. While backstage musicals, on the other hand, they employ song and dance to kind of move forward the plot. And in both the genres, the backstage plays and the backstage musicals, what is interesting to see is the difference between what the audience witnesses on stage to the trials and tribulations and the chaos and the heightened emotions that happen backstage. No pressure here, but I expect a lot of laughter, a lot of introspection. I made a joke one day during some scenes, because Norm kind of intersperses some lyrical moments and some touching moments with all the laughter and all the shenanigans happening on stage, and especially relationships between husbands and wives and partners and lovers. And I said to an actor who was mentioning something when I was giving a note, and I said to her, there'll be a lot of bruised ribs in the audience. And I said, well, what do you mean? I said, the wife's going, yeah, I certainly have a lot of bruised ribs. My wife and I go to the theater. And basically what happens is, the way Norm writes, people recognize themselves on the stage, or, parts of their lives, or parts of dialogue in their lives. And of course it becomes familiar, and it's being distant from it, seeing other people go through the same thing, it's funny. So, all that being said, I think you're all in for a rollicking evening of laughter, but also of emotions, because Norm Foster in this play allows you to laugh in one moment and then become introspectful and becoming thoughtful about relationships and what happens in real life. And then he's not afraid to portray kind of a messy emotions and sentiments. So you're in for a full evening of theater, but all in all, it's a comedy. And as I think the Foster Festival, it's called, has a motto called Humor with Heart. So come see Opening Night by Norm Foster, and you'll witness all of that. Welcome. Hope to see you at the theater. Break a leg.